I'm the controller of a physical security company in Lincoln, Nebraska. We have about 100 employees, and my question is around annual pay raises. We currently offer about a 2% or a 2% cost of living adjustment each year for every employee, and then up to an additional 3% for merit or performance-based increase. The issue I think we're running into is we really haven't clearly identified or defined what a 1, 2, or 3% merit increase would look like. So when an employee gets less than 3%, they take it as they aren't doing a good job or we don't value their contributions. So I just kind of wanted to get your input on how we should think about merit or performance increases on an annual basis.
We don't do any cost of living. We do marketplace adjustment. And so, you don't get a cost of living raise just because cost of living went up. You get raises because the position that you are in now pays more than it used to pay. That's a marketplace adjustment. Does that make sense?
Yeah, absolutely. So you're just looking at the salary data for that role.
Exactly.
And so on.
Exactly. Okay. In this region, I can hire a Dev 1 for X, or I can hire a junior controller for Y, or whatever. And that is the marketplace value of it's usually a range, right? But, you're at the bottom end of that range and you're doing a great job. So we're going to move you up to the mid-range of that range. And here's the comp study. We show them what the position pays in the marketplace, where we got the numbers. We don't just say we made this up last night right before we met with you this morning. And it's also not random because a 2% raise and a 9% inflation economy that's insulting. And so, and we had a couple of years there, a couple of years back from now that we did have some 9% inflation years, right? Other years we have had no inflation. We've had a contraction, meaning a recession. So we haven't tried to monitor all that. That's outside variables, but that usually ends up being reflected indirectly in what it costs to hire someone for a position. So that's the first thing we look at. And then we do not do a percentage merit to where they don't have the numbers that you're dealing with. That way I don't have any comparison issues. It's just, this is what this position's worth, and you're exceeding what this position's worth by doing these things. And so we're going to, instead of it looks like you're $5,000 to get $5,000 raised to get you to mid-range, but you're killing it. So we're actually going to bump you $7,000. And that's how it sounds. It's a little more vague than saying, well, you were a 3% merit and you were a 2% merit. And, so the 2%'s pissed off, which is what you're dealing with, right?
Yeah, that's exactly it. And at different salary ranges, of course, that makes an impact as well. A 2% for a lower paid employee compared to a 2% for a highly comped employee are, received differently because of the dollar amount. So
yeah, it sounds like you might have a large number in one bucket, do you?
Of type of employee, or
yes.
What do you mean?
Yes.
We have probably 5 or 6 different buckets, but the largest bucket is probably in the 25 to 30 head count range, and then we have, of course, smaller departments and buckets.
Yeah, and that 25 to 30 is probably where all your problems happening.
Yeah, a fair amount, and then in the admin type roles where it's a little more difficult, there's not as much pay for performance, so it really is just that salary number.
Yeah, we ran into that too because I'm so straight commission oriented. I'm such an entrepreneur. I'd put the freaking receptionist on straight commission if I could figure out a way to structure it, but I had never done that, and so then I run into problems of how do I reward a person in an administrative role that is causing the revenue producers to be able to do their job because they're supporting like they're supposed to be, but they don't get the, they don't get the pyrotechnics around their performance. There's no firecrackers going off, right? So it's very difficult. It's more difficult for me emotionally to figure out how to build those comp structures in those situations. So what we do is we used to not even do annual reviews because it sounded corporate to me, and I hate corporate crap. But we started doing them because we accidentally forgot to give people raises because we weren't checking the calendar. And you look up and it's been 2 years, and they quit. And they go, you didn't give me a raise in 2 years. I'm like, you're kidding. I didn't even know that. Why didn't you bring that up before you quit? And so we were stupid. So we started doing annuals because of that. But of course, we're also doing a regular accountability rhythms with folks on how their job performance is all through the year. So there's not just one time a year we course correct. So if there were merit issues going on with us, it would happen in some of those weekly or biweekly standard accountability rhythm meetings rather than in the annual review. And then when the annual review gets there, they're not shocked if they're not performing. And if they're not performing, we're not really interested in keeping them. So it's not really a money thing anymore. It's now just an issue of performance. So anyway, that's the way we do it. We don't have any percentages involved. We're looking at wage ranges, competitive salary, and or comp in general for that position, the company our size in this region, what does this type of position pay? Here's the range. This person is, they're beginning in their field, and so they're going to be at the beginning, the low end of that range, or they're seasoned and they're really super performing. They may be at the top end of that range. They may even be over the top end of that range, and I'm fine if they're killing it, if they're being a stud and knocking it out. I'm fine doing that at that point. That's a really cool question. Sounds like you guys got a great business going on, Blake. Thank you for calling in. We appreciate you being here.